Kadosh, Boker Tov, Masechet Ketubot Daf Memhe Amud Aleph 45a1. Just we're going to start Memdala the Mubet towards the bottom where it says Tani Shila. We learned in a Braita Shalosh Midot Bena'ara. There are three different dinim to do with a Na'ara Meorasa, which is an engaged girl that she had relations, that she basically had infidelity. Remember, the Irusin is the first stage of the marriage. And therefore it says here, Baula Edim vet Chamia. What happens right now if the Edim come in the house of her father-in-law, which means after her marriage, and they testified, they testified that she had relations when she was still in her father's house. Okay, so now we're at the top of Mem Hamud Aleph. So klinotal betach betavia. So they're going to do the sekila, which is the stoning. Right? Because remember, an arusa gets stoning. A married woman, nisua, gets chenek, strangling. So it says over here, so they're going to come and they're going to stone her at the entrance of her father's house. Just like it says in the Pasuk in Devarim, chapter 22, Pasuk 20 and 21, Kaf and Kaf Aleph, if it was true, they're going to stone her. Klomar, which means it's telling them that the parents, look at the children that you grew up. You went and you took these children and you grew them up. Look at them. Now, what happens in the second case? What happens if everything was done in her father's house? Meaning they came into her father's house before the wedding, right? The niswin, and they said that she had relations when there, it wasn't on petach betavia. It's in Shara'id. What does it mean, Shara'id? And the entrance of the city Okay, just like what's written in the Torah to do with Na'ara Meorasa Shezinta. Because there it says Ki Na'ara Betula Meorasa Leish Umtza Ish V'Shacharima Shara'id. Okay. Sarcha. What happens if she had the relations when she was a Na'ara, Ulvasof Bagra, but then she became a Bogeret. Remember, Na'ara is from 12 to 12 and a half. Bogeret is 12 and a half and onwards. She became a Bogeret before Hamada Bedin, before she was already taken with a verdict and everything. Tidon bechenek. So then she gets chenek. Why? Because she's a Bogeret Shezinta. That means even though she was a Na'ara during the time of the sin, meaning when she committed it, she was a Na'ara. But once all of a sudden now the body changes and now she becomes a Bogeret, she gets judged like a Bogeret. So says the Gemara, says, well, whenever you change the body, because here her body changed from a Na'ara to a Bogeret. She was a 12 and a half year old, and now she becomes 12 and a half and onwards. So now also it changes the death. Urmini, we have a contradiction. Na'ara Meorasa Shezinta. When you have a Na'ara Meorasa that she has znut, and once she becomes a Bogeret, she has this shemra, right? What does that mean? He's not going to get lashes for the otzat shemra. And he's not going to get 100 sela. She and the zommin, they're going to come and they're going to be makdimin to the bet skila. What does that mean? It comes out that when this Na'ara Meorasa zinta, and then she was bagra, okay, and then the husband was motzi shemra. Remember, motzi shemra means that he comes and he says that she wasn't a betula, and it's incorrect. Now he came and he brought witnesses that she committed infidelity. Now, if they were false, and that's why it's a shemra, so he doesn't get lashes, and he doesn't have to pay the 100 sela. Why? Because it was only the shemra and the 100 sela was only for a na'ara, not for a bogeret. He v'zommea, but she and her zommim, why? Because they can't get saved from the mitah which was fitting for them. So you see from here, we're going to stop the question. It says, what, you think she and the zomimim, you think that they're going to get the same halacha? Ela ohi ozomea. You never kill both. You never kill the woman and the edim zomim. It's either you kill the woman because she committed infidelity, or you kill the edim zomim because they lied and she didn't do anything wrong. But you don't kill both. So what does it mean? He v'zomemea. So you really think both of them together? Ela ohi ozomea. Magdinim betaskila. So says the Gemara Amar Rava. So that anyway, in any of the cases that you do see, that even though she became a Bogeret in the middle, you still give her sekila. So Amar Rava, Rava comes and he says, Motzi Shemra, you're talking about Motzi Shemra. Shane Motzi Shemra is different to Chidushu. Because it's a Chidush. What does that mean? It's something different that even though she changed from a Na'ara to a Bugeret, right, it does not change the death penalty. And therefore she still stays Sekila. Right, Vezinta, Bechenek. What happens right now if this woman comes into the chuppah, right? And it's not like any other stam motzi shemra, right? Usually it's going to be bechenek, right? Because once she goes into the chuppah, even though there's no bia, right? She's considered nesua. She's not considered arusa anymore, and therefore only an arusa gets sekila, not a nesua. Ve'ilu motzi shemra, but by motzi shemra, even though she's already after marriage, she still gets sekila, right? So therefore you see from here that by motzi shemra, it's a different halacha. That means even though the body changed, she still gets the same death penalty. So Amale Ravuna Bereshua Rava says Ravuna Bereshua to Rava, Dilma ki chadit rachmana. Maybe when the Torah was mechadesh such halacha by motzi shemra, that's only if there was no change in the body. But maybe bemet if there was a change in the body, maybe there's no chidush in the Torah. So Rav Nachman, but rather Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says, you're right. It's a machloket tanaim. This entire concept of a na'ara changing to become a bogeret is actually a machloket tanaim. The Tanam, we learned in the Mishnah, this is to do with the korban chatat. Chatu ad shelo nitmanu venitmanu. What does that mean? What happens if they sinned, right? And they sinned until they weren't appointed. That means they sinned when they were hedyotot. And then they were appointed to become, whether it's going to be, right, lemalchutot kiuna gdula. Haren kedyotot. So therefore it comes out that they bring a kivsa or seidak for a korban chatat, just like a hedyotot, which means that even though now they became from a hedyot to a king, or they became a hedyot to a kohen gadol, right, it doesn't change their korban. Rabbi Shimon says, right, because again, there's going to be a difference between who's making the sin, what type of a korban do you actually bring. Okay, that's what it says over here. So he comes and he says like this: a kohen gadol brings a par for his chatat, a melech mevi seid, which is a he goat. The hedyot brings a she goat, right, or a she kisa sheep. Okay, so now he comes and he says like this. So Rabbi Shimon says, im noda lahem ad shelo nitmanu chayavim. If they found out that they sinned before they were appointed as kohen gadol or a king, so then they're chayavim to bring the kivsa or seirah just like a hedyot. But once they were already appointed to become kohen gadol or king, and now they know what happens, turim, they don't bring any korban. They don't bring korban whatsoever. So it comes out that according to Rabbi Shimon, the fact that their body changed after the sin, it changes their korban, and therefore they're not going to be chayav like a hedyot, right? The regular case. So you see from here, this is actually machloket, the Tanaim. So ishtane velo ishtane, the fact that the body is changing, right? Before we were talking about from an na'ara to bogeret, it's just a change in time. Here we're talking about from a regular person becoming king or a kohen becoming kohen gadol. So that's it's a change also. Also, it's going to change. Memheamud bet 45b. So Amar de Shamin and Rabbi Shimon does hilaf pater yidiyah. I understand that Rabbi Shimon says that we go after also yidiyah, which means the knowledge of what the sin. But that you're only going after the knowledge, but not going after the sin in itself. That where do you see that you see such a thing? Which means that here we're talking about what happened with the knowledge of what that they sinned or they didn't sin. Here has nothing to do with it. Here, the woman, she sinned at the same time. It's just that now it transpired some time. What's the difference now? Right? If so, laiti korban tkiashta, bring the korban just like what it is now. Mashuach par v'nasi sayid. What does that mean? If he became a kohen gadol, bring a par, right? And if he became a king, bring a sayid. So bring it right now. So Hamale Rabbi Yochanan Tana, Rabbi Yochanan comes and he tells the Tana, Tani tidom biskila. Why don't we come and we actually be done in skila? So says the Gemara, why don't we judge her in a skila? So he says, why? It's only a na'ara. She's a bogeret. She's not a na'ara. So says the Gemara, says the Pasuk says, if it was true, and there was no betulim found for the na'ara, you have to take out the na'ara and you're going to stone her. What does that mean? Even though you could have just said, just take her out. Why did it repeat again the na'ara? Nara shaita kvar, the nara that she was already a nara. So Amaleh Rav Chananya Rabbi Ila says Rav Chananya to Rabbi Ila, Ihachi if so, milka mililke me'asela mishlev. 1 second. If you're going to tell me that it's all the same halachot, so give him the lashes because he was motzi shemra, and let him pay the 100 thing. Why is it now that she becomes a bogeret? Now he's patur from everything. Why? He should pay up. He should do everything. So Amaleh, he says, no, Hashem should save us from such a thing. He says, the opposite. Hashem should save us from what you're telling me right now. He says, why? Listen carefully. What's the reasoning? Instead of Rabbi, this girl, her actions caused her the death penalty. It was his mouth. What's motzi shemra? He spoke negatively. He said sheker. He said that she wasn't a virgin, and she was. So that's akimat sfatav, the fact that he's speaking. That's what it wasn't her actions. There, her actions caused her the death penalty. Here it's just his mouth. For her, it was her actions. When she did the actions, what was she? She was a na'ara. So therefore, she gets punished like the na'ara. The motzi shemra, akimat sfatav, it's his mouth that's causing him the sin. Garmulo. When did he become a motzi shemra? Hayishata, during the time when what? Well, that he's saying that she was Hayishata, she's already a bogeret now. So since she's already a bogeret, we all go at the time of the sin. When are you doing the action? So her, that she's doing the action when she was an ara, she gets punished like an ara. Him, that his action is like when she's a bogeret, so then it's like a bogeret. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita. So we already said, Nara me'orasa, that she has relations, they stone her at the entrance of her father's house. En la petach betav. What if she has no father's house? For example, the father doesn't have a house. So they do it at the entrance of the city of the gates, right? The gates of the city. What happens if the majority of the city are goyim? So they do it at the entrance of the bedin. So too you say, if somebody does services, right? He works for he worships idols. They do it at the entrance of where he did the avodah zarah. But what happens if you have a city, the majority are of the kochovim? So they do it at the entrance of the bedin. How do we know this? Where do we learn this from the pasuk? So he says, we learned in the Braita, when it says in the Torah, right, which is actually going to be now in Shofetim. This is the sha'ar, the gates, right, that they're actually servicing, that he's working, he's worshiping. Do you say that it's the gates that he's worshiping it, or it's the gate that he's judged? There's a There's a it says right? When it says she'arecha, it says right, and then it says she'arecha also lemala, just like she'arecha shar shavad bo. That's where he worshipped it. So to she'arecha mulamata, the shar shavad bo where he worshipped it. Davar acher, another explanation also. When it says el she'arecha velo shar of the chovim, it's your shar and not the shar of the chovim, which means that if the majority of the city are the goyim, so then the shar of the city is the goyim. So you can't do it there, and therefore you're not going to do it over there. So says the Gemara, Hai Sharecha Epikte. Says 1 second, this you learn it from the word Sha'arecha. He says you already said that you're learning it from the shar that he's worshiping it. So he says, no. In Ken Lemekra El Sha'ar. El Sha'ar. My Sha'arecha. Why does it say your shar? Shema Mina Tarte, it's coming to teach you two different things. Number one, Shemiskal, that he's going to be stoned in the Shara'id Sheba'avad, which means that that's where they're going to do it. And the extra chaf is coming to say that he's not going to be stoned in the Sha'ar if the majority are going. So the She'arecha is teaching you two different halachot. So it says the Gemara, Ashkechan Avodat Chochvim, it's also by Avodat Chochvim. Na'ara me'orasa ne'naran. What about Na'ara me'orasa? This entire She'arecha and everything was all to do with Goyim, was worshipping idols. What about now Na'ara me'orasa? Samar v'yavu, says v'yavu, Gamar petach mi petach, upetach mishar, v'shar misharecha, which means we do a gzera shava petach, was it says v'otzeta et na'ara petach betaviyah uskalua, from petach share chatzeh. Okay, and then from the petach mishar, there for when it says written petach from the sha'ar also, and sha'ar which is written by Na'ara me'orasa from she'arecha from avodah zarah. which means we're going from one place to another, until we get to the final place that we're learning from the Avodah Zarah. So again, one more time. We're learning Petach, which is written Ve'otziu et hanaral Petach b'taviyah uskalua, from Petach by the Mishkan, where it says Petach Sha'ar Hechatzer. Now, once I have Petach and Sha'ar together, I'm learning the Petach to Sha'ar. So just like Sha'arecha by Avodah Zarah is these halachot, right, that it has to be the Sha'ar Shavad Bo, and if not, then it's going to be, and it cannot be Sha'ara'ir if the majority of the city are Goyim. So too, I'm learning from Petach to the Sha'ar as well. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to the right, Motzi Shemra. So somebody's Motzi Shemra, he has to get slashes, and he pays Me'asela. Rabbi Yehuda says, Lilkot, right? When it says Loke, he gets lashes mikol makom. Me'asela, Ba'al noten, lo Ba'al lo noten, which means like this. To do with the Me'asela, it all depends. If right now he had relations with her, so he has to give the Me'asela. But if he didn't have the relations with her, and he just brought the witnesses to testify that she wasn't a virgin, but he never actually touched her, so then he doesn't have to pay the 100 selah. So says the Gemara, says 1 second, this Tanaim, which is Tanakam and Rabbi Yehuda, are arguing with the machloket between Rabbi Eliezer and Yaakov and Rabbanan. V'hachi kaman, this is what it means to say. Hamotzi shemra, if you're going to be motzi shemra, lo kevin noten me'asela ben ba'al ben shel ba'al. According to the Shita, like Rabbanan, which means, right, that if right now, whether he had relations or didn't have relations, he gets lashes and he has to pay the 100 selah. That's like the Shita of Rabbanan. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, lilkot, you always get lashes. Lo kemi komakom. The me'asela, the 100 selah, is only in Ba'al noten. If he had relations, he has to give it to her. Lo Ba'al, if he didn't have the relations, then he doesn't give it to her. But if you want, you could flip it around. You could say the opposite. The what? Kula Yaakov. Everything's like Rabbi Eliezer and Yaakov. And even Tanakama holds like him, that it wasn't written the Motzi Shemra unless he had relations with her. The Hachi Kama, this is what I'm saying. Motzi Shemra, if somebody's going to be Motzi Shemra, he gets lashes and he has to pay the 100 selah. That's only if he had relations with him. Rabbi says, you always get lashes because of lo telech lachil b'amecha, you're not allowed to talk lashon hara. The Sava Rabbi Yehuda says what? Rabbi Yehuda always holds that there's going to be lashes. But Tanya, we learned to the right that Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ba'al loke, lo Ba'al loke, only if he had relations he gets lashes. If he didn't know, you told me the lashes you always get, whether relations or without. You were saying only if he had relations he gets lashes. So no. Here we're talking about Makam Ardut, which is only the Rabbanan. Mideoraita, only if he had relations does he get the lashes. If he didn't have relations, he doesn't get the lashes. The Rabbanan, they give the lashes, but it's only a din the Rabbanan, but it's not going to be a din deoraita. Have a wonderful day.